All right, as we continue with more news now, the National School of Government is hosting a BRICS conference from today until Wednesday. The focus is on governance and public administration reforms. In the build-up to the BRICS Summit scheduled for next month, this will be the second BRICS conference hosted by the NSG, contributing to efforts to build a better Africa and a better world. Now, the first one was held back in 2018 when South Africa last hosted the BRICS Summit. On that note, let's get Dr. Botshabelo Majax, Deputy Director of General National School of Government. A very good afternoon to you, Dr. Majax. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you.
Perhaps we could look at the strides taken to date since the BRICS conference back in 2018 and the significance of this conference this time round.
Well, the significance of this conference this time around is that artificial intelligence is upon us. The fourth industrial revolution is upon us. We as the state, as governments that are part of BRICS, have to prepare ourselves, have to ready ourselves to be able to respond. Since 2018, there is a lot that we have done and achieved, and one of the most critical things that we've been able to put in place in South Africa specifically is the professionalization framework that Cabinet approved in October last year, which focuses on the public sector. And when we were talking about professionalizing the public sector, we were anticipating these conversations that are about how do we improve governance, how do we reform the public sector so that it is not only responsive to our people's needs today, but it is also responsive to our people's needs tomorrow.
No, absolutely. I think one is to then look at the relationship between public administration and good governance at large, the reality on the ground, perhaps also the challenges and gaps that exist and the need for some reforms. Help us understand that further.
We cannot lie and say our governance systems and processes are all in order. There are a number of gaps that we still need to fill. If everything was in order, we would not be having these conversations from today until Wednesday. You know about the State Capture Commission and the findings that have emerged out of the State Capture Commission, which implicate many of us in the state. So we have to fill those gaps. At the same time, especially since COVID-19, we know that our people are suffering, jobs are not coming through, the economy is not growing as fast as we want it to. So all of this means that we have to speed up reform. We have to speed up and improve governance. Ethics and corruption can no longer be conversations and discussions that we have because we feel like it, but we must actually aim to stop having those conversations, because you see, the sooner we stop talking about corruption and issues of ethics, the sooner we will then be realizing that we have eradicated problems around corruption. Corruption is not an objective. Eradicating corruption is not our goal. Our goal is to grow the economy. Our goal is to create jobs. For as long as we find ourselves talking about corruption and ethics, it means we are being diverted from the main goal of our governance system. So at the core of our conversations at this conference is to ensure that we can speed up our refocusing to economic growth, to job creation.
Absolutely. I think another point that comes to the fore on the back of what you've echoed is how do you bridge the gap between those who are in power, those who are leading, and perhaps also the succession planning thereof, just given the realities of Africa and its high youthful population, perhaps also the changing dynamics, which sees AI as part of the conversations, which you alluded to, one of the themes including the impact of technology. Maybe also bringing climate change, reforms needed there, the impact that, is happening on that front, and really how the decisions being made are going to impact or rest on the shoulders of those who are deemed the youth at this point. Walk us through how BRICS is committed to realizing that, and perhaps are we still on track in terms of some of those goals?
I mean, the issue you're raising of youth is a big issue. And it's also a bit of a problem at the moment. You know that our unemployment problem, not only in South Africa, but across the continent, is actually a youth unemployment problem. More and more of our young people are unemployed. At the same time, however, there are opportunities that you are alluding to. Artificial intelligence is an opportunity that we need to leverage. So what we need to do is to harness what is called the youth demographic dividend. What that means is that we must, when we look at this artificial intelligence, say, how can our young people, when they enter the labor market, when they enter the area of jobs, that they enter in areas that are for the future, not the areas that are shedding jobs because of artificial intelligence. So that's part of the conversation that we are having here. How can young people move into microchips development? How can young people move into robotics? How can young people move into metadata? These are the skills of the future that we're talking about, and these are the skills that have to assist us to deal with the youth unemployment problem that we have in South Africa and on the continent, and we must harness that demographic dividend moving forward.